Hello and welcome to the Athena 40 podcast, Bouncing Back. I'm Elizabeth Filippouli, founder of Athena 40, an international platform promoting female leadership and advancing the status of women worldwide through conversations and access to networks. As a response to the COVID-19 crisis that hit our world 3 months ago, we are looking for ways to not only understand what happened and how, but also to find solutions for the future. In this podcast, we're interviewing thought leaders, entrepreneurs, influencers, and decision makers from all over the world. And my guest today is the activist, author, and entrepreneur, Paola Diana. Paola is also a passionate supporter of philanthropic causes, especially those connected with women and children. She is the host of Unleashed, the Game Changers, a YouTube channel where she interviews individuals who are changing the game in their industries. She has also been voted among the 120 most forward-thinking women in the world under the Athena 40 2020 list. Her book, Saving the World, proposes the action plan women can take in order to make this world a better place. And if ever our world needed to become a better place, then this is now. Paola, welcome to Bouncing Back.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you. I'm really pleased to be here with you.
You are a native of Italy, and your homeland has been badly hit by the coronavirus crisis. More than 3 months into the crisis now, and just over a month since everything came to a hard stop in Italy. What is the situation currently? I'm sure you're talking to friends and family all the time. What is the reaction? What is the psychology that you're receiving when you speak to them?
Exactly, Elizabeth. Unfortunately, Italy has been hit very hard by the coronavirus, COVID-19. And I'm so sad for my country because we definitely didn't deserve it. There are many factors that contribute to this pandemic extension in Italy because I speak every day with my friends and I read newspapers every day. So I have a clear idea of what happened. And unfortunately, the reality is that we started too late the measures of containment. Even though we were the first ones in Europe, because Italy was the first country in Europe, but still it was too late. It was too late because we underestimated the virus. We didn't understand how much, it was spreading at a fast, pace. And also we underestimated the virus inside the hospitals and inside the retirement homes. That's the main mistake we did in Italy. And unfortunately, with a very, very huge sadness, I say that we are still doing this mistake because apparently in Lombardy, that is a region that was most, hit by the COVID-19, we still have a huge number of deaths among all people that are living inside these retirement homes. And who are already inside the hospitals. So it means that something is not done properly there. Italians are doing well because they are actually staying in a lockdown. They're following the government's pressure. From a study that I read the other day, only 3% of Italians are not following the directions of the lockdown. So it means that we're really, really following this and we're doing our best. But as you can understand, if we don't follow very carefully the practices and protocols to avoid the spread of the virus inside the hospitals and the retirement homes where they are the most vulnerable people, everything will be done for nothing, basically. So I'm quite scared that we will still have this emergency for a long time. Also because, as you know, in Italy, we have a lot of elderly. And because we have a good sanitary system, so our people, they actually live longer than in other countries because we take care of them for free instead of what happens in America, as an example, in the United States. So that's why we have many of them, but unfortunately, they are the most vulnerable to this virus.
I was reading today, Paola, that more than 100 Italian doctors have died from COVID-19, which is beyond shocking. We have seen those moving acts of courage, hope, solidarity, humor, balcony operas even. So you Italians never lose your timeless style and artistic spirit, which the whole world has admired. But inevitably, all of us are going through something which is tragic, which is bigger than anything else that our generation has ever experienced. And so inevitably we come to question or to reassess, if you like, our very existence and the things that have mattered to us before the COVID-19 crisis, and perhaps how we can approach life or reevaluate life in the post-COVID-19 era. How has this shock changing our perception towards life and the people that we love?
Yeah, you're right. It's a changing life moment for every one of us. I think we should not change our good practices in the future when everything will be gone, because I believe and I trust in science, and I'm sure we will find a vaccine for this horrible virus. So I think we will have to go back to our, way to show affection to our family members, to our friends. I'm Italian, so we used to kiss each other when we meet, shake hands, give a hug. I think this is very important. So maybe in 1 or 2 years, when everything will be gone, I think we should just go back to normal and stop with this distancing that is creating huge problems. It's so important for us to share our emotions and affection and to feel it also on our skin. It's so important. And also, now when we go out, we look at each other like we are some kind, of walking disease, and we are all scared about the others. It's so bad. I think this virus is really having a bad effect on our, society, the way we interact.
The expenses bill is going to be massive because there will be so many different industries, business lines, social groups that will need to be supported. How do you see the role of international institutions here, such as the European Union, the UN, the World Bank? And of course, those three, for example, they have separate and parallel mandates, but and this is what I would like us to focus on, they have all been criticized for delays, lack of real action, even lack of solidarity. And in the case of the European Union in particular, there is resentment that the European brothers didn't do enough for Italy and Spain, who, as we know, have suffered the most from the coronavirus.
I was always a huge fan of Europe, and I'm dreaming about the United States of Europe. But nowadays, I'm disgusted by the way they are addressing these crises, because they still don't want to create a public debit to the Eurobonds. So especially in Germany. In Germany, we are seeing a huge, incredible type of selfishness. And if we think about Germany, Germany was destroyed after the Second World War. And without the Marshall Plan from the US and without the help of Europe, they wouldn't be where they are today. So they should be the last country to be selfish. But unfortunately, they are the first one. And the way they treat, other countries, in particular Italy, Spain, Greece, is disgusting. In my opinion, is really disgusting, because there is no solidarity. There is nothing apart, the short-term economically calculus. So they're thinking, oh, we don't want to spend 1 penny for them. We don't want to risk 1 penny for them. It's their job to do something. But this is not the spirit of Europe. This is not the spirit of a union. This is the opposite. We should help each other. the strongest one should help the others, also because Germany is earning so much, from Europe and this union, that they should be smarter than this, and they should think about the long term, not the short term. So I'm quite upset right now. And in the UK, the country that is my country now, we won't have this problem anymore, because with Brexit we are out. So the UK will be actually free to think about how much depth they want to create. Because let's be realistic, Elizabeth, we need to use depth now in order to boost the economy. This is the only way. And I know it's dangerous for future generations. I know that. But we have to do this. There's no other way, and we needed to push the economy and help entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur as well, as you know. So I can tell you that we are all facing a lack of cash flow. And we need now someone who helping us, to boost this cash flow in order to restart. And I'm confident. I believe in entrepreneurs. I believe in our countries and our spirit. I know we can do great things in the next years. I know we can go back where we were, but we need to trust in ourselves now, and we need to be united. Selfishness now is only bad. It's only delaying our rebirth.
The pandemic has put to the spotlight Asia's wet markets and how dangerous they are. These are markets where wild animals are sold for food or medicine, and that trade has an annual value of $74 billion. Asian governments need to come up with rules and serious measures to stop this practice once and for all. In addition, we must take global action to clamp down on wild animals trafficking and trade.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. This is very important. So this one should be the first thing in the agenda of our institutional, and international organizations. And also in the agenda of China itself, it's a huge country. And when they want to change something and make it respect, they know how to do that. We saw with the lockdown, they did an amazing job. So I really hope that now all these bans that I hear that are coming from China are real. And I hope they will have the courage and the strength to change, and also change the culture of the nation, like really letting people, especially poor people, understand that it's not good to, keep buying and eating this type of food, that they can definitely eat other food, because if they go on like this, we will have soon another virus, killer virus, in a few years. Scientists already told us, it's only a matter of when, not if. They already knew a pandemic was coming. They already knew that. It was only a matter of when. And now we saw how devastating it is. And also it's more devastating for poor countries, because we still don't know the numbers, because unfortunately they can't even test, the sick people, let's say the truth. But in poor countries, COVID-19 will make a disaster. Like more than a tsunami, that's for sure, because they can't separate people, because they all live together. They don't even have water, in certain places. They don't have tests. They don't have ventilators. So it would be a real disaster. And how can we let, people still having these wet markets and still eating this type of food? They have too much blood in their hands.
Paola, a few weeks ago, our organization, Athena 40, announced the 120 women who made it to the inaugural Athena 40 list. Now, that list is dedicated to women who are movers and shakers in their countries and industries. Nominations came in from the public, and the idea is that we promote new role models. How do you feel about that?
I love to be called a mover and shaker. Seriously, I love it, because you're right. This is me. I'm a rebel by nature. I think the first thing we have to do is unknow what they told us, if it's bad, especially if it's bad for women's rights and human rights, because as you know, this is the main object of my activism since many, many years. And so this is the only way to do, we have to forget bad traditions that are bad for us, and just invent new ways of staying together and respect each other. That's the only thing. So in order to do that, you definitely have to shake the society and tell everyone why they have to start unknowing what they know.
With the coronavirus crisis, women globally are being challenged even more, because women are more vulnerable to economic shocks generated by crises such as this one, or an economic recession. And this is, as you know, for a number of reasons. Firstly, women are more likely to lose their jobs than men. In many countries, as we know, women's participation in the labor market is often temporary employment. Secondly, many women will not be rescued by those social safety nets, because access to those safety nets frequently depends upon formal participation in the labor force. Thirdly, women entrepreneurs are often discriminated against when attempting to access credit, and this will be a challenge, as credit will be of paramount importance in the survival of firms. And then finally, women's unpaid work has already increased dramatically, because women remain responsible for the lion's share of domestic chores and care work. And now, with a whole family at home 24/7, we can only imagine the burden that women who need to look after a home, children, the elders in the family, themselves, their careers. I mean, they're seriously struggling, let alone when this is happening in family ecosystems that have to deal with other underlying conditions, such as an abusive father or husband, alcoholism, depression. So different forms of challenges which overburden a situation which is already very, very charged emotionally and practically.
I think women are paying the highest bill of this COVID-19 crisis, unfortunately, because all the reasons you already talked about, and also because our politicians, they started a lockdown without even understanding the consequences on women. As an example, this is one mistake they did in Italy, but also in other countries. Our politicians, they decided to close the schools from one day to another without even understanding or thinking who will take care of the children if they don't go to school. Of course, in Italy, 98% are the mothers who take care. So these mothers, from one day or the other, they had to quit their job or, take some vacation and stay at home with the children. Or in the most widespread cases, because in Italy we have these large, families still, they asked the grandparents to take care of the children. This has been done when scientists already knew that the virus could have been spread by asymptomatic people, and the majority of the asymptomatic, they're young ones, children included, to the eldest ones. So can you imagine? This was like a bomb set inside the households, because these children, they then passed the virus to their grandparents. So this happened, first of all, and then the mothers, they had to lose their job or, stay at home without still knowing if the government was giving them some money, for the childcare. Of course, after they tried to say, oh, we're going to give some money here, some money there, but still it's not enough. So the damage has been done. And on top of that, as you said, there is domestic violence. Domestic violence is a social emergency in a normal society without a pandemic, because unfortunately we know that. Can we imagine the effect of a pandemic in the minds of these men who already have problems in addressing their hunger and in trying to address the violence that they bring with them. So a pandemic like this can only multiply the cases of domestic violence, and we know that from China, because Chinese data are horrible. They said that there was a rise in domestic violence more than 30%. And unfortunately, I think it's more than that, because as we all know, many times victims, they don't even ask for help, especially if they are trapped in a household where the violent person, who unfortunately the majority of time is a man, is listening to everything, and is tracking them down.
Paola Diana, author, activist, entrepreneur, mother, friend. Thank you for your time and insights. Keep safe and well, please.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for having me. It's always a pleasure. I love to talk to you, and I really feel connected with you, even though now we are far away.
Thank you for listening to the Athena 40 podcast, Bouncing Back. Stay tuned, more episodes coming up featuring exceptional, forward-thinking women, those who will shape our future, our societies, our worlds. Please do subscribe. You can read more information about us on athena40forum.com. If you're interested in women in leadership and also advancing gender equality, do get in touch to find out more about our work and get involved. Stay positive, stay inspired.